It's happening. It's happening.
Yeah, it's on.
We're on. We're on. Hello. Hi.
Morning.
Morning, everyone. So let me just bring up my actual Zoom properly. So I'm not looking at the Facebook version. And I'm just going to record it. Awesome. Good morning, everyone. Welcome.
Morning.
I am super excited to introduce to you my badass boss bitch client, director of collective design agency, who has been my client actually on and off for
Since two,
2019.
no, 2016 was our original connection.
2016 was a retreat, and sorry,
Yeah.
2019 was a retreat. 2016 was the first time we worked together online. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I'm super excited to talk to Keira today and share her story about how she has moved mountains in her life, in her business, in her relationships. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not sure we're going to fit all this in like 20, 25 minutes, but we will do our best and we're here to have some fun and also inspire you, like give you some insight into some of the behind the scenes and to let you know that if you wanted to change your life, you can fucking do it too. So let's start off, right? So where were you when I met you in 2016? So we'll kind of base it forward.
2016, I had worked with a boss that I felt like a shell of a person, and I lived off caffeine. So I wasn't eating, and it was just caffeine, milk, and sugar. And
Yeah.
wondered why my life felt like it was down next to my feet. And I felt like I was two shakes of crazy. I had all sorts of messages coming in and just thought, you can't connect like this. It's schizophrenia. It's just, you're hearing so many other stories. And I was so disconnected from myself. I sought answers externally. Everyone else had the answer for me. Everyone else knew me better than I knew myself.
Yeah.
And I happened to see your advert and clicked on it and put the form in, and it went to a Japanese business page.
Oh my God, yes, I
And
did.
then I was like, and then Eliza gave me a call and we got chatting.
Yeah.
And straight away it was that pull, that click. I couldn't explain it, but I had a gut pull to be able to work with you. And I have every single time that we've worked together. And it was just this connection. And I come from not wanting to acknowledge the trauma that I had, but you gave me a safe place that when we went to the retreat, it started pulling apart the neglect and the trauma that I had as a little child, and I had to hold so much. It was just like every time you gave a hug, it was like the mum that you needed to give the hug. And it just gave me space and trust to take away the layers. And oh my God, have we taken layers? And oh my God, have we gone through so much resistance
Yeah.
to have so many identity deaths to create a new version each time we've worked together. And it's just been amazing what we've got to, and what I've realized that it started with me, and then it also, anything that happens in life is not to me, it's for me, to
Yeah.
help me learn and grow.
Amazing. Amazing. And yeah, there's many a times where I'm like, whoa, what happened to Kira from last week? Like where did that person go? Because I am
The penny drops.
yes, yes. And I want to really touch on this because this is a really important part, right? Because for you, integration time has been really important.
Yeah.
And having that space and that time to be able to process and digest some of the awareness that was created, like from your
Yeah.
unconscious into your conscious, you needed time to process that. And
Oh, absolutely.
let's go to the retreat. Like, let's touch on the retreat because this is, I mean, we laugh about it now, but this was also a very testing and trusting time for myself as a coach, but
Yeah.
also, and for you as well, right? To be in an environment where um, you were, well, you didn't know what was.
Completely out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, so there was this pull for Kira to come to the retreat. She was like, I am there, like, how bent, like, yes, 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 yes. Like, and it was very strong, yeah?
Yeah, I had no idea how I was going to pay for it. I'm like, fuck it, I'm going.
Yeah, and she did, and she did. And then when you arrived, it became a bit of a different story, right? Because we weren't just living on the surface level, we were going to go
Yeah,
deeper, right?
yeah.
And what kind of happened for you? So at the time, like as we started to dig deeper, can you explain some of like what come up for you at the time? Like maybe how you were feeling, what you wanted to do?
So, first thing I remembered is when I'd asked for a coffee, you went, there ain't no coffee here. And I looked around, there was no TVs. And you said, no, we're here. And it was like, oh, I went from not eating any lunches or anything to not having any coffee. And first off, that was a bit, oh, okay, pull back. And it was, there was no, my outward, I'm loud and boisterous to deflect. There was, you saw straight past that. And when I wouldn't connect, you put me into a meditative state to reconnect. So those barriers came down. And it was really uncomfortable because I usually am able to deflect or be the one caring for other people or put other people first. In this point, I wanted to do it. But at the same time, we had just the two of us. So there was no big group to hide or deflect to. It was just the two of us, of Joe and myself, to identify this. So there was no way out, especially when we did the photo shoot and we were going to do the nudity photo. I remember having all these other things available, and the photographer's like, no, 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 there's none of that. It's just you. And the so uncomfortable of, but it's just me, there's no one, there's nothing else. It was trying to find and reconnect. And my biggest memory out of it was that I am enough in the mirror. That was
Yeah.
paramount because I was looking everywhere else but at myself, and seeing both Joe and yourself be vulnerable and realizing there was no one else in the room but me,
Yeah.
to then connect. And actually having to look at myself was, it's easy to look around at your face, your chin, your nose, your ears, your hair, everything else, but to look at yourself truly in your soul is, and actually talk to that inner person, that stayed with me for so long as a wow, okay. And realizing there was another point of myself that I had been missing for so long, that I hadn't even looked at, that I had basically locked away and
Yeah.
had been so external.
Yeah.
It was challenging and but brilliant, because the lack of the smile, the first smile, got a photo, and there was so many of my patterns coming out. Like when we had to do the letters, your comment was, this is your task, but you're not going to do it. I know you're not going to do it. So it was like, okay, well, you've told me I'm not going to do something, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was, holy shit, like it was not everyone else's letter, it was my letter to myself. That was the biggest catalyst,
Yeah.
and broke that journaling issues.
Yeah. And for those of you watching, there was an undercurrent for Kira at that retreat around being seen, and also around acknowledging what was coming up for her. And there was this like beautiful moment where Kira didn't want to participate in the retreat, and that was totally okay. And she spent some time, a little bit of a tantrum, but she went and spent some time for herself because that's what she needed. So
Yeah.
when we talk about like giving yourself space and allowing yourself to process and digest, everybody has a different timeline for that. Like everybody has different ways that they go through things, right? So there was this beautiful, I describe it as shutting the roller door. So there was an invitation to come in, into the conversation, and Kira just like slammed that roller door down. Nope, not participating. And she
Yeah.
had some time to herself. Once she had that time to herself, like coming out into afterwards was, you were like a whole different person, right? And this is
Mm.
about really honoring and giving to Kira what it was that she needed, as opposed to forcing and pushing um, shit uphill, so to speak, right? Like forcing something to happen where she didn't feel comfortable at that point. And there's like, and it was the same thing with coffee, right? When you were drinking lots of coffee, it's like, keep going, push shit uphill,
Yeah.
like push through, keep going. And
Yeah.
it's this overriding. I know it, I know it within myself, right? It's this continual overriding of self. And not listening to our bodies and not really getting in tune with what your inner guidance is actually needing, what your inner child is needing, and what it is that you're wanting at that time, and then being able to give that to yourself.
Yeah. At
Right?
the time, I didn't see it, but now that we've done the personal work for the year and dived in, it was a recurring pattern. It was a pattern that I took from when I was a child, which was one foot in front of the other. Forget today, start tomorrow. It was just this same thing. It was push, push, and I took it into all areas of my life. And that, looking back at that, I needed to go to the retreat to do that. So then when we came through and did the one-on-one work and really dived in and looked at that big fucking mirror, it was, I could understand it and not just disregard it.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. So, what do you think, or what would you say was one of your, like, your constant, I mean, we just identified one as well, your
Yeah.
pattern, but like some of the like struggles, the constant struggles that you had had?
My thing really was self-worth. I had physical reactions when we were working with that in our year-long program, and value. So I'd get uppity at my clients because they weren't valuing me, but then I wasn't doing the level of work that I had assumed that I would do myself. Um, and also money mindset and self-love as well. Was out, my marriage was falling apart just before I did our 1 year intensive, and I sort of thought, fuck it, I'll just go into it and just do regardless of what happens, and realize I was not valuing myself. So how could I value my partner in any way, shape, or form?
Yeah, yeah. And that was the thing, right? You're constantly trying to fill everybody else's cup, and yours was just continuously on running
Yeah.
thing, right? Continuously exhausted. You mentioned that you had some like physical reactions. Can we
Yeah.
tap into those? What did you mean by that?
So I'm an asthmatic, but only I created it as an older adult, not actually born with it. Um, and when we were doing the self-worth, it was interesting that it was the start of an asthma attack.
Mm,
I couldn't breathe. I was almost needing an inhaler. And then out of our comment was actually having a self-soothing action. And we
yeah,
discovered that the self-soothing action was a needing to reassure myself and finding my self-worth. So it was when we were doing things, so often when it came to self-worth, it was the coughing, unable to breathe, and preventing that clear movement out of what I was vocalizing for myself as worth, what I actually needed.
yeah, yeah. Because that was one of the things that we really worked through as well, was getting really clear on your self-worth, but also understanding what your own needs are, your own
Yeah.
desires, and what it was that you wanted for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And let's I'm like dying to share this because this is like, it's great, it's funny, and it's awesome, right? So at the point of when you weren't, I guess, recognizing your self-worth, and you weren't recognizing your gifts and what it was that you were creating and bringing out into the world, and how incredibly talented you are at your work. When we were before we worked through that, right? There was this constant need or desire or to earn more money. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like, I just want to get this amount, or I just want to earn this amount. And there was this pattern that was highlighted around wanting, we go to this money story. And
Yeah.
then what happened was, once we had worked through that, healed a lot of that trauma around your worth and your childhood trauma, coming out the other side of that, what did we recognize when we looked into our money?
Oh, freaking this story. When I actually sat down and went through and looked at, after working through our year, I tripled in 1 year from a business.
3 times, people, like three
Yeah.
times tripled her
Yeah.
income.
Yeah. And this quarter alone, I have done exactly what the entire year prior to of the year before of the whole year. So I've just done 30 and a quarter, and it's like freaking what? And the numbers in the accounts, so what? It goes up and down.
Yeah,
It fluctuates. The bills are paid.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's amazing, Kira. That is really amazing, and I am so super happy for you. And there was this and so what happened was, after that, there would be this story that came on around money.
Yeah.
That was then like, actually, that's not the truth. There is no substance to that story, because we actually know that it's not true. So it was always a layer deeper than that.
Yeah.
So it was like living under the surface. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And we actually didn't go specifically into money mindset or anything. It was just peeling away the layers of what came up each week of old stories. Like, it blows my mind that we didn't actually this is how you run a business. It was just purely what is coming up for my own self,
yeah.
and then realizing I know what I need to do. It's just
Mhm.
pulling all the patterns out of the way. It was just freaking amazing.
And this is the thing, right? It's not about the money. It's about how you relate to the money. It's about you in relation to that, right? It's what you're saying to yourself. It's the stories that are being playing out, the cycles, the patterns, all of that. Yeah. And it
Yeah.
happens with every client that I work with. They emit, well, they don't, it's not immediate, but over time, it's like they check their account and it's like, holy shit, I've doubled my income. Another client of
Yeah.
mine just recently tripled her monthly income, right? And zero work on the money side of things.
Yeah.
Because it's not always about that, if ever about that. So, what would you say is three of the biggest? I mean, I guess maybe we just identified that, three of the biggest challenges that you faced.
When I started, I didn't realize. I dived in because I knew externally I couldn't change anything else. The only thing that hadn't changed was me.
Mm,
And so my biggest thing was I would have arguments or get really angry over a client or a partner or someone else. It had nothing to do with any of them at all. I struggled to realize initially that it all starts with me, and the problems I have externally are problems that I identify myself. It's the mirror in those people that is an element in myself, and my worth. That was a huge thing to address. And then was truly seeing myself, truly seeing me and all that I bring in my own life that's great about me, and seeing self-love and removing my love of labels.
yes, yes. Say what? Yeah.
If it wasn't one label, I created a new label to address or control why things weren't going a certain way.
Yeah. And
And stripping them away, it's just it's lessons.
Yeah, yeah. And just for everybody that's watching, just to be clear, labels aren't necessarily always bad, but when you're categorizing them to box yourself in, which then creates your own limitations to expanding more, that's when they
Yeah.
become a challenge, right? Or when they start to really get in your way.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the magic that you have created since getting out of your own way and being able to overcome these challenges and hurdles. So we've already mentioned one of them. You were able to like triple your income in, I think it was like 10 months. I think it was just under
Yeah.
10 months to be exact. Um, what other magic have you created?
I, without marketing, I actually call in the type of project. So as I journal, I'll call in what I want, and within a month, it's the type of project. So I called in NDIS and LHA projects, and they've started coming through. Um, the journaling of the number of like particular commercials and residentials I had listed down, we are pretty much there and growing past that. Um, in my own self-love, turning my marriage around. And I kept saying that CDA needed to be a success. Well,
Yeah.
my husband has 8 weeks left of his contract with PN to
Yeah.
step down to a wage that is half of what he is doing, because, and I'm not stressing, I know that as soon as that happens, CDA is just growing. It's now got its own space at the front studio instead of in amongst all of the rest of the house.
Amazing.
And I have 2 team members that are here twice a week that assist, and I'm actually letting go. So projects I let go that they can run them, instead of me having to control everything.
Yes, yes, yes. So, Queen of Leisure gets to enjoy her mornings and relax while her team come in and take care of her, right?
Yeah,
And that was like one of the most beautiful things to watch, right? Because for you to be able to let go and let all these structures that you had created for yourself
yeah,
run themselves, right? That's awesome. And so it's yeah, transforming your marriage was one of like the most incredible things to witness as well. Because
yeah,
it wasn't just about you transforming that, like you had to have transformed your own relationship with yourself for then
yeah.
that to be able to flourish.
Oh, absolutely. I witnessed that I had been blaming my husband for so many things that were of my own fruition, of my own identification. And we went from um, identifying he had a drinking problem, but it wasn't just him having a drinking problem. I had a workaholic problem. So as
Mm.
soon as I started working on that and putting balance into my life, oh, lo and behold, magic happened.
Yeah.
The drinking became far less. He was present. He's now with the kids so much, and he is assisting me in so many ways in my breaking my tailbone. I've had to let go and let him actually participate in the household where he is running a lot of things. He is cooking, he is changing so much that he's not the same person. It's a completely different view of how I look at things and how I view my life. I'm not running after everyone else to address them. Is I look after myself, and if I feel called to, I will catch up with someone
Yeah, yeah.
instead of solving their problems.
And for those of you watching as well, like let's tap into like some of the stories that were ran before that. So one of the things that just came to mind then was you felt the weight of responsibility for people around you.
Yeah,
So it was like I had to do it. Kira had to do it all. She had to do everything. Nobody else could do it. She had to do it. But it was also a like a pattern and a cycle that she was running to keep her on that hamster wheel to keep going. Right?
yeah,
So you just keep doing it, doing the thing, doing the thing, doing the thing. But there was no space or no room for her to actually lean back and receive. There was no opportunity for people to give because she wasn't
yeah,
able to receive, right? So and by transforming like for yourself, you're then able to look at your relationship differently and then look at how you saw your partner differently, look at how you interacted, and you were coming from a place of 100%, you mentioned balance, and which, you were quite the extremist when I met you. We were this or this.
Yeah.
Up that
Oh,
end
it
or
was one
that.
way or the other way. Yep. It went from the peaking highest highs and hitting the lowest lows, where now, yeah, we all have off days, but it's listening and realizing, oh, hang on, I'm overtired or I'm this or that. Okay. It's stepping back. I don't need to do that. That will still be there tomorrow. It's letting know, communicating that something has happened to work with others. You won't win every person over or every client. That's fine. They don't identify that they're not in alignment with you. It's not pushing staff in a manner that it shouldn't be. It will flow, and if it's meant to be, it will be there exactly when you're ready for it.
Yeah.
And my learning self-care
Exactly when
takes so
we
many,
get out of our own way.
oh, absolutely. And self-care takes so many different formats.
Yeah.
So now I've done internally. So now I'm doing the external house and realizing how much that pulls up internally as well.
Yeah.
And how that's a form of self-care, and just sitting and being is a form of self-care. It doesn't mean you have to go to a beautician or something. It means
Yeah.
sleep when you need to, eat proper foods, sit and just breathe instead of holding it.
Yeah, you didn't quite know what you were like, what do I do? What do I do in order to be
Yeah.
able to do that in the beginning,
Yeah.
right? And now you're living and breathing it. So
Yeah.
what are like three lessons that you could share with the people that are watching that they absolutely must hear?
um, Things don't happen to you, they happen for you.
Yeah.
And it's not exactly like everything happens for a reason, cop out. It's
Yeah.
things happen, but it's finding the lesson that's actually in there for you out of it, of the growth.
Yeah.
And watching TV and sitting on the couch is still a form of self-care. It's your body saying, stop,
Yeah.
relax, and hold. It does not mean you need to beat yourself up, because you're just sitting there and having a chance to just chill. There is a reason for it.
Amazing. Amazing. Did you have another lesson?
I wrote down quite a few and I've forgotten them.
That's all right. That's cool. What words of advice? I mean, I'm sure so many people have got so much from listening already. What words of advice do you have for somebody who is watching, who might want to change their life, who are maybe stuck in a rut, or maybe they're relating to a lot of things that you were saying when you first started? What's your advice to them to get them taking action in making their own changes?
Nothing changes without you. It starts with you.
Yeah.
If you make a decision to make a change, even if you don't have the financials to jump in, or you are not sure whether you want to actually invest in someone, it's saying yes to you. As soon as you say yes to you, it opens that door and starts that process. You may not have a tangible idea of exactly how a coach or how a Liza or decluttering or anything else works. It's just saying yes to you, and it will all fall into place, but not exactly how you think it will in a box. It will do it exactly how it's meant to be, in the right time and in the right way.
Yeah, you just gave me this visual actually of when you first started and you said yes to you, and you were like, look, I know this is my thing. Like, I know I'm here to do this. I'm not exactly sure how like this is going to work out, but I just know I'm saying yes to myself. And I think it was within 2 weeks you signed on two new clients into your agency.
Yeah,
And
it was a 10K month.
yeah,
In
yeah. And
that,
then you went and bought
and
yourself a whole new wardrobe. Like it was
yeah,
that in it, saying yes was transformational in itself for you.
yeah. And I cried for an entire week. I cried and cried and cried. And I didn't realize at the time it was the act of letting go,
Yeah.
of the pain and the lack of recognition of self. It was just being a surrendering of it's my time, and not realizing at that exact point how valuable that was to
Yeah.
actually say yes to yourself, and how absolutely and utterly life changing that was. Just the act of saying yes and knowing, I don't know, it will work out how it works out.
Yeah. And, because we had known each other for quite some time, if you could imagine like this visual of just like holding everything together. And it was like trying to keep balls underwater. Yeah. So as soon as you said yes to yourself, um, it was just this beautiful, like letting the balls go, and you just let it all out, literally, like physically, emotionally, the whole thing. And I'm pretty sure, quote unquote, you'd said to me, I feel like I'm 10 kilos lighter the week after
Yeah,
you spent crying, right?
yeah.
And it was just a lot of stuff that you had held in for so long.
Oh, remember the journal post I had, which was, I found my heart-shaped box?
Yeah.
The box out of trauma that was created to hold the pain and everything else, that no longer exists. It
Mm.
was in saying yes, it opened, and it opened a flood door of emotions. But it was knowing, instead of going there and being so raw and emotional and not knowing how to cope, it was having that safe space as soon as emotions came up and they were so overwhelming.
Yeah.
You are so amazing at being able to help teach us and help us not be so overwhelmed that we can't cope. It's, we then manage and understand and process it and then take the next step up. It
Yeah.
was that trust and that safe space to be able to go, oh, I can do this safely, with all the levels and the lifetimes that we went through to identify, and even the spiritual work that we went through was just amazing.
Yeah. It was so beautiful to watch it all unfold. We've been through so many chapters, Kira. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a summary. Like, today's just a summary of that. I hope you guys have, yeah, learned a lot from hearing about Kira's experience. Kira, thank you so much for jumping on today and sharing.
Thank you for
Um,
having me.
so good to see your face, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Give Kira a shout out, and yeah, have a really great day. Bye.